if you look at the data, the stats and all that, they've not actually been that bad. The chances that they're giving up tend to not be enormous. But I think the fact that they end up being the team that gives Ipswich their first win of the season, that's going to raise some serious alarms. And I think really, when you think about Spurs, you should probably think about them home and away. I think away from home, you've seen them drop significant amounts of points, but at home, I think they were in third or fourth best record. So that result was a huge shock for me. Even when they went 1-0 down, I was like, they'll still find a way. 2-0 down, they'll still find a way, because this is an Ipswich side that have conceded, I think it's 22 goals so far this season. So yeah, surely Spurs will score a couple more goals. But I think defensively, teams will concede. Sometimes get fortunate when, you give up chances and don't take them. But I think for Spurs overall, I don't think the defending is that bad. I think at times they might look chaotic, but some of the opportunities that they give up, they're not as big as people think. But when they do concede, it does always raise that question. But I genuinely don't believe them to be that bad, especially when they're playing at home. So I think yesterday was more of an outlier as opposed to the norm, in my opinion, when you see them perform at home.
The thing is, when you watch Spurs and the team is going against their defence, you kind of feel the team's always going to score.
Yeah, because they generally don't defend with a back four. The two full-backs seem to be more concerned with getting forward. And when your full-backs have disappeared, if you're playing against two forwards, it's 2v2.
So let me ask you this. At Celtic, he was very successful. But was that because he wasn't playing against teams with the same quality of attack that could exploit your defence?
100%. Yeah, no question.
So, basically, are we flogging a dead horse with Ange Postecoglou? Is he out of his depth?
No, I don't. That's the wrong terminology. You would well just say he doesn't know what he's doing. That's what that sounds like.
Well, what I'm saying is that we know there's a problem with the defence, but he hasn't been able to fix it.
Let me put it a different way. His choice to play the way they do means that they're going to be under pressure defensively. That's what it is.
Right.
And he's already said he's not changing. And so if that's the way you're going to play, don't be surprised when you're losing games because the opposition are getting too many chances. And although the stats might say that it's not as bad as we're making it out, the problem is teams are getting at them way too easily and way too much. And somehow they've managed to get the stats that they have. And I'm not so sure it's about great defending. I think it's more to do with the opposition not capitalising. Because you cannot continually defend with two players against two forwards and not think that you're going to lose goals. And then when the rest of the team doesn't turn up, then you get what you got at the weekend. You wait till you're 2-0 down, right. You go in at half-time, and then you start playing. I mean, that not only are we talking about the defence, that's the part that Ange has to look at himself as well. Because if your team's at home against the bottom side and you start as lacklustre as they did, that's down to the coach. That's down to him not getting his team ready when they step on the field to start the game. So he's not out his depth at all. He has just decided that's how he's going to play, and it doesn't look like he's going to change it.
What's interesting is they were so good in the second half against Villa. You thought, right, real momentum here, and they were just so flat, so poor, so tepid in that first half against Ipswich. And he was asked about consistency. Why isn't that momentum there? Why aren't they all puffed up, ready to go, thinking, look what we just did to Villa, people like these, why can't we go out there and put on that show again? Why does it have to be 2-0 down before we see any sort of spark?
Well, you're asking that question about this version of Spurs and Ange Postecoglou, but you could have asked that question about any version of Spurs over the last 10 years. What I would say, this team, in the way that Postecoglou wants to coach them and the way that he wants to set up this group, they depend first and foremost in energy and intensity. If they have that, they have a chance. They have a chance because they will press higher of the field, because they will go in the back and forth, and because they have enough good players in the attack that if they catch in a bad position, they can score goals. They're always going to suffer defensively because this is a choice, as Stevie just mentioned, that the coach has made. But in order for that to become a viable way of playing, you have to have intensity, you have to have urgency. Because when you don't, then all the things that we've talked about in terms of the problems defensively, they become highlighted, exacerbated. Everything becomes worse for them defensively if you don't have the intensity and the urgency that is required. In the second goal by Ipswich yesterday, all it took was one Ipswich player to dribble past one Spurs player, in this case, Rodrigo Betancourt, and now they're gone. Yeah. They're gone. They're gone. And the recovery runs were not there, not with the right urgency, not with the right intensity, not recognizing that there is danger. It's like, oh, we'll be okay because it's Ipswich. Oh, we'll be okay because it's Ipswich. My message to the Spurs players, if I were in that locker room, is like, we are not good nor consistent enough to take anybody for granted that we play. If we're going to be successful, our attitude, first and foremost, has to be ready to go every single match. Then after that, we'll take it as it comes. But if we don't have that, we have no chance.